Good Thursday evening, everybody. This is Stephen Ray, and I wanted to jump here on social media and let you guys know that there are a multitude of severe storms and severe thunderstorm warnings that go all the way from Oxford, Mississippi, stretching all the way over up near the Huntsville metro area and over into Athens, Alabama. And the reason that I'm here is because this line of storms, even though it does not look as bad as it has been on the radar, there have been multiple reports of damaging straight line winds and damage as this line has pushed on through North Mississippi and North Alabama. Now, if you were up in Tupelo a few minutes ago, there was a wind gust upwards of 62 miles per hour at the Tupelo airport. So if you're watching me over here in Oxford, if you're watching me near Amory, Mississippi, if you're watching me near Aberdeen, if you're watching me near Houston, Mississippi, or if you're watching me near Bruce or Water Valley, you're going to be next up in line for the extreme winds coming with this line of storms. And then if you were over here in the northern portions of Alabama, if you were watching me over here in Haleyville, Hamilton, Decatur, Athens, Hazelhurst, Ardmore, all the way down to just north of Hartselle, Alabama, you're up next for the intense line of severe storms and wind right now. Now, the weather service up there in both Huntsville, Birmingham, and Memphis have all said that the extreme winds will get to you well before the rain starts. And so your wind line is ultimately going to be with this outflow boundary that is coming through the northern side of Hamilton right now. So the actual gust front and the front that will produce the damaging straight line winds will get to your area well before the actual rain starts over your location. All right, so let me go back over here and actually read off what warnings we actually have in place for you guys right now. Okay, if you were watching me in the northern Mississippi area, if you were over here near the Tupelo area, these are the counties in northern Mississippi that are underneath a severe thunderstorm warning, and this warning goes until 6:30. If you were in Lafayette, Chickasaw, Calhoun, Pontotoc, Itawamba, Lee, and Monroe counties in northern Mississippi, you guys are in the path of 60-mile-per-hour winds until 6:30. Now, for northern Mississippi, here are the places that are impacted by this line of storms: Tupelo, Oxford, Amory, Pontotoc, Aberdeen, Fulton, Houston, Water Valley, Verona, Okolona, Trace State Park, Holly Springs National Forest, Saltillo, Guntown, Bruce, Calhoun City, Vardaman, and Plantersville. All right, that is for the northern Mississippi counties. Now, if you were over here in Alabama, near the Huntsville area, here are your warnings: Madison County, Lauderdale County, Limestone County, Colbert, Franklin, Morgan, and Lawrence counties until 6:30 as well for damaging winds upwards of 60 miles per hour. Northern Huntsville, Decatur, Madison, Athens, Hartselle, Russellville, Moulton, Meridianville, Moore's Mill, and Hazel Green. And finally, if you are down here in the Birmingham National Weather Service radar, National Weather Service map, your area is going to be from Marion, Winston, and Lamar counties in west central Alabama until 6:45. So once again, if you were watching me over here towards Water Valley, Bruce, Houston, or Amory, Mississippi, stretching back into Alabama close to Hamilton, Haleyville, and then getting up here towards Athens and on the northwestern side of Decatur, you guys are up next for the potential of damaging straight line winds. And we just got a report right now of 40 mile per hour, 47 mile per hour wind gust right now is occurring in Hackleburg. So these storms definitely mean business. They have produced tree and power line damage as they have moved from the Tennessee, Mississippi, and Tennessee, Alabama borders all the way down south. There was a 62 mile per hour wind gust at the Tupelo airport about 15 minutes ago. So these storms mean business. So if you're watching me right now from Bruce over to Houston, over to Amory, Mississippi, then stretching back towards Hamilton, Haleyville, and the northwestern side of Decatur, you need to go on ahead and think about getting into a sturdy shelter and moving any of the outdoor furniture that you may have because these winds will definitely blow a lot of things around that are not secure outside. And as you can see, they are moving on at a very fast clip. Now they will continue to weaken as they move further down here into central Mississippi and central Alabama. But, how long will they hold up? We're just going to have to wait and see. But once again, these storms have had a history of producing tree and power line damage across the northern Alabama and northern Mississippi. And that is why the National Weather Service in Memphis, Huntsville, and Birmingham have issued severe thunderstorm warnings for this line of storms in advance of those winds upwards of 60 miles per hour. So that is the reason that I wanted to jump here and let you guys know that if you are in advance of this line of storms, you are going to see an intense amount of wind coming towards your area. And once again, let me try and see. Give me just a second. Let me pull up Memphis. Okay, 2 miles west-northwest of Tupelo, Mississippi at 6 o'clock, which was 18 minutes ago. They had a thunderstorm wind gust of 60 miles per hour, and that was 18 minutes ago at 6 o'clock, 2 miles west-northwest of Tupelo. And so that's going to be that batch of storms that is going to be coming close to Amory and then Houston, Mississippi right now. So 60 mile per hour winds is absolutely nothing to play around with. It can do a lot of tree damage and push trees onto homes and, of course, onto power lines as well. And as of the last check, unfortunately, Alabama Power had 6,000 customers across North Alabama at last check at 6 o'clock without power. And I can guarantee you that that will be coming up as this line of storms moves on through. So there is the leading edge of your wind line. and your thunderstorms coming right here, just off to the north of Haleyville, Alabama, curving down into the metro of Hamilton right now, and then stretching north of Amory and north of Houston, and then back over here to Water Valley, Mississippi. So if you're watching me right now along 45 between Verona and Tupelo all the way down to Aberdeen, you guys need to go on ahead and think about being inside of a sturdy shelter and a sturdy building, because these storms are packing quite the punch, stretching from Water Valley, Mississippi, south of Oxford, all the way over here to Athens, Alabama, and then stretching back up here into Tennessee, just off to the southeast of Nashville. So there is your line of storms that are pushing on further south and to the east. Okay, so we're getting more reports now of thunderstorm wind damage inside Tupelo, the city of Tupelo in Lee County, Mississippi. Trees down on power lines on Simpson Drive. Power pole down on Day Brighton Drive. So these storms definitely mean business, folks. Okay, 1 mile north northwest of Florence. This was as of 5:35, which was coming up on about an hour ago. Shingles were blown off of a home in Florence, Alabama. So that means that these storms are definitely packing a punch. That is why the Weather Service in both Memphis, Birmingham, and Huntsville have gone on ahead and issued severe thunderstorm warnings in advance of this line of storms, because of the seriousness of this line of storms as they continue to push on off to the south and to the east. All right, and let me go ahead and say this. If you are watching me right now in Tupelo, if you're watching me in Fulton, if you're watching me up here in Oxford, New Albany, Mississippi, if you're watching me in Red Bay, if you're watching me in Russellville, your severe weather threat is over. However, if you are south and east of this line of storms, you still have the potential to see damaging winds in excess of 60 miles per hour coming here towards the Bruce, Mississippi area, getting here close to Houston, Mississippi, and then eventually getting over here into the Amory, Mississippi metro area. Okay, we are getting more storm damage reports as of 6:22, which was 1 minute ago. Broadcast media reports that there were shingle damage to a house in Pontotoc County, Mississippi. So that means that these storms are still producing widespread damage right now. Once again, if you were watching me near Ukru, hope I'm saying that correctly, Ecru, over in Pontotoc County, Mississippi, broadcast media reports shingle damage to a house in Ecru, Mississippi. Also, there are shingle damage to a house in Florence, Alabama, and Lauderdale County. So these storms are definitely still packing a punch as they move on south. So once again, if you're just now joining me, here are the actual warnings that are in place. And I'm going to start in Alabama and move towards Mississippi. Okay, if you are near the Huntsville metro area and the Tennessee Valley, of Alabama: Colbert, Franklin, Lauderdale, Limestone, Madison, and Morgan counties until 6:30. Those are the warnings for North Alabama. Severe thunderstorm warning closer to Central Alabama: Lamar, Marion, and Winston counties until 6:45. And finally, if you're watching me over here in Mississippi, Calhoun, Chickasaw, Itawamba, Lafayette, Lee, Monroe, Pontotoc counties until 6:30. And all of these warnings have damaging winds upwards of 60 miles per hour. Okay, so National Weather Service in Memphis has extended the severe thunderstorm warning for a couple of counties in northern Mississippi until 7:15. All right, so here are the counties across northern Mississippi that go until 7:15: Calhoun, Chickasaw, Itawamba, Lee, Monroe, and Pontotoc. All right, so the new warning goes into effect until 7:15 this evening. All right, so let me back out. And once again, if you were watching me in Marion, Winston, or northern Lamar County, here are your places that go into a sturdy shelter: Hamilton, Winfield, Haleyville, Sulligent, Lynn, Ewan, Hackleburg, Double Springs, Brilliant, Glen Allen, Detroit, Beaverton, UN, Houston Recreational Area, Brushy Lake, and Ashridge. Okay, those are in northwestern Alabama. Now, if you are in Chickasaw, Calhoun, Pontotoc, Itawamba, Lee, and Monroe counties in Mississippi, here are the places that you need to go to your safe place right now: Amory, Aberdeen, Houston, Okolona, Calhoun City, Shannon, Vardaman, Derma, Smithville, Prairie, Pryland, New Salem, New Warren, Holka, I hope I'm saying that correctly, Holka, Needleton, and Woodland. Now here is what the severe thunderstorm warning says. A 60-mile-per-hour wind gust was reported at the Tupelo Airport at 5:47 this afternoon. There have been multiple reports of damage across northeastern Mississippi with these storms. Now, here is also what the warning says for northern Mississippi. Expect damage to roofs, sidings, and trees. So, once again, if you're watching me in northeastern Mississippi, Chickasaw, Calhoun, Pontotoc, Itawamba, Lee, Monroe counties in Mississippi. Okay, over here in Alabama, severe thunderstorm warning has just been issued for Walker, Winston, Fayette, and Lamar counties now until 7:30 for a good portion of northwest Alabama. And this is north of the city of Tuscaloosa. So the new warning is in place for Jasper, Winfield, Fayette, Summerton, Cordova, Dora, Carbon Hill, Vernon, Sulligent, Millport, Lynn, Berry, Double Springs, Oakman, Glen Allen, Kennedy, and Sipsey. All right, so there is your new warning that comes all the way down to the Pickens, Tuscaloosa, Jefferson County line. There is also a new severe thunderstorm warning in northern Alabama from Huntsville that includes Jackson, Marshall, Madison, Limestone, Coleman County, Morgan County, and Lawrence County in northern Alabama. So there are a lot of warnings that are now ahead of this main line of storms that is coming through northern Mississippi and northern Alabama right now. And let me go back over here and see if I see any other reports of damage. Okay, from Memphis, there are still a bunch of trees down being reported now in Prentiss County in Mississippi near the city of Booneville. Also, there are trees down in Pontotoc, Mississippi. And this just came in at 6:20. Saltillo, Mississippi, which is in Lee County, trees down on a home. So these storms are not playing around, folks. And the good news is I'm not seeing any damage so far from either Lamar, Marion, or Winston counties just yet. The damage that is coming in is more towards the northern Mississippi area and then around the Florence and Limestone and Lauderdale County areas up there in far northern Alabama. But once again, if you are ahead of this line, you guys need to really pay attention to what's going on with the weather because this is going to be moving towards your area here very soon. So the National Weather Service in Jackson has also just issued a severe thunderstorm warning that includes Octibbeha, Webster, Clay, and Lowndes County, Mississippi now. So these storms are still packing a punch. So if you're watching me right now in Starkville, if you're watching me in Sturgis, if you're watching me in West Point, Waverly, Caledonia, Columbus, if you're watching me in Matheson or Oktok, you guys are underneath a severe thunderstorm warning because of the potential of damaging straight line winds upwards of 60 miles per hour. Okay, this was just posted by the National Weather Service in Birmingham. Severe convective wind gusts continue to roll through northwestern Alabama and northern Mississippi. Remember, the winds are arriving well ahead of the rain, and the skies may go from cloudless to a forbidden really quickly. If a warning is issued for your area, that means to take cover. So these storms are definitely meaning business, and they are causing a lot of tree and power line damage up here across the northern portions of Mississippi and Alabama. Okay, getting more reports now from Franklin County in northern Alabama. Multiple trees down across Russellville, including one on a house. And this comes in at 5:56. So once again, in Russellville, which is in Franklin County, Alabama, multiple trees down across Russellville, including one on a home. So these storms are continuing to produce widespread damage across northern Mississippi and northern Alabama. And once again, let me just go back over the warnings for you guys. If you're just now joining me, here are the warnings that we have ongoing for Mississippi and Alabama. And we are going to start in Mississippi right now. If you were watching me in Oktibbeha counties, Webster, Clay, or Lowndes County, Mississippi, you have a severe thunderstorm warning until 7:30. Now, if you are in Oktibbeha, Webster, Clay, or Lowndes County, Mississippi, and you are in these areas, these are when the winds are going to be near your location. If you are near Palo Alto, Mississippi, 6:55. West Point, 7 o'clock. Clarkson, 7:05. Cumberland and Muldrow, 7:10. Mabon and Tisby, 7:15. Octok, Crawford, and Longview at 7:30. Also included in the warning is Starkville. Sturgis and Artesa. Okay, so that is the southernmost warning from the storms. Let's go a little bit further north. If you were up here in Chickasaw, Calhoun, Pontotoc, Etowah, Lee, or Monroe counties, here are the areas that you need to be impacted. Amory, Aberdeen, Houston, Okolona, Calhoun City, Vardaman, Derma, New Holka, Needleton, Algama, Hatley, and Woodland, Mississippi. Now, let's go over here into northern Alabama. If you are around the Huntsville metro area, Jackson County, Marshall County, Madison, Limestone, Coleman, Morgan, and Lawrence counties. That is in northern Alabama until 7:15. Huntsville, Decatur, Madison, Coleman, Scottsboro, Hartselle, Gunnersville, Arab, Bridgeport, Moores Mill. Okay, if you are up here towards the northwestern corner of Alabama, Walker, Winston, Fayette, and Lamar counties until 7:30, damaging winds in excess of 60 miles per hour. Jasper, Winfield, Fayette, Summerton, Cordova, Dora, Carbon Hill, Vernon, Sulligent, Millport, Lynn, Arley, Berry, Double Springs, Parrish, Oakman, Addison, Glen Allen, Kennedy, and Sipsey. So those are the active warnings that we have ongoing right now. And then we have another warning that is further north that will expire in 6 minutes for Marion, Winston, and northern Lamar. And I can almost tell you that warning, those storms are completely out of that area. So let me take you in here and show you where the line of storms currently is. The intense line of wind is going to be right now in northern Alabama. If you were watching me right now on 65, coming down from Huntland, Tennessee, and Elora down to the Huntsville Metro, over to Madison, the Huntsville Airport, then stretching down to just north of Hartselle, then curving back to Double Springs, Addison, getting in here to Winfield, Vernon, then curving over here towards the Aberdeen, Mississippi area, north of West Point, then over towards the Houston area, and then getting over here to Vardaman and Pittsboro. That is where your line of storms and your line of wind is currently located. Basically, from the Huntsville Metro and the Hartselle area, stretching back across northern Mississippi into northwestern Alabama. So basically, if you are from near Aberdeen, Mississippi, all the way over to Winfield, Alabama, north of Jasper, and then curving up to Hartselle and the Huntsville Metro, you guys are about to get really pounded by 60 mile per hour winds plus. All right, so if you are watching me right now from Vardaman over to Aberdeen, Mississippi, that is where this line of wind is pushing south into Mississippi. Next up in Mississippi would be places like Anchor, Woodland, Atlanta, Manti, Malden, Prairie, Tucker's Place, Hamilton, the Columbus Air Force Base, Pine Acres, West Point, Dancy, then getting down here towards Spring Valley, Starkville, and then Columbus. Also Caledonia. Now, if you are here in northern Alabama, Sulligent, Winfield, Eldridge, Double Springs is coming through you now, Addison, Falkville, Hartselle, Priceville, Redstone Arsenal, downtown Huntsville, then getting up here towards Hazel Green, and then curving up here into the state of Tennessee. So that is where your line of storms is going to be right now. And let me see, okay, in Tishomingo County, Mississippi, in Belmont, trees on houses. Iuka, Mississippi, in Tishomingo County, trees down and power outages. So these storms are still packing a punch. And trees down and power outages came in 20 minutes ago in Iuka, Mississippi. And once again, severe thunderstorm warning remains in effect for Fayette, Lamar, Walker, and Winston counties until 7:30. So this is a serious situation. All right, now we've got our first damage report from northwestern Alabama in Hamilton. The fire department and rescue reports trees and lines down in and around Hamilton. All right, So we got our first damage report from northwestern Alabama. All right, so we have to now. All right, hold on. All right, 2 miles east of Muscle Shoals in Colbert County. Thunderstorm wind gusts to 47 miles per hour. All right. So once again, Marion County and Hamilton, trees and lines down in and around the Hamilton area. All right. So there is your first damage report coming in from Hamilton. All right. So if you are watching me right now, south of Aberdeen, over to Winfield, Carbon Hill, Jasper, Cordova, Berry, Fayette, these storms are still meaning business, and they are coming at you very quickly. And I can actually show you where the wind line and the severe wind line is going to be. It is going to be over here from north of Calhoun City, south of Vardaman in Mississippi, then curving over here south of Aberdeen, north of West Point, and then curving over here to a point in between Sulligent and Vernon, Alabama. That is your wind line coming south. This is a nasty situation coming up here for Calhoun City, Fame, West Point, Caledonia, Columbus, Mississippi. Now, if you're over here in Alabama, coming up next is going to be Vernon, Eldridge, Arley, Wayside, Mansfield, Dogtown, Nidus, Fairview, Double Springs, Addison, then getting up here towards Falksville, Battleground, Gum Springs, Somerville, West Point, Redstone Arsenal, then getting over here towards the downtown Huntsville metro area, and then curving back up here into Tennessee. All right, so that is your wind line of severe storms. And if you're watching me right now in the city of Coleman, if you are watching me over here towards the Dripping Springs, West Point, Chances Crossroads, Mount Zion, Brushy Pond, Dodge City, Good Hope, get ready, folks, because this stuff is coming at you really quickly and really, really fast. If you were over here in northern Coleman County, if you were over here stretching from Addison all the way down over here to north of Vernon, going ahead and think about going to a sturdy shelter because these storms mean business. And then if you were over here in Mississippi, basically from a point from Calhoun City, north of West Point, over here to Caledonia, Mississippi. So if you were over here in Malden, Dericote, Hamilton, Mississippi, north of Caledonia, Whites, Pine Acres, West Point, Columbus Air Force Base, Canola Springs, Oakdale Park, Ridgeland, Mississippi, Green Acres, Waverly, Tibby, Starkville, the Golden Triangle Regional Airport, and Columbus. You guys are under the gun for next up the severe weather and the straight line winds. Next up here for northwestern Alabama would be Vernon, Eldridge, and then Carbon Hill. And like I said, if you were over here in the Coleman County area, you need to think about being in your safe place as well. And like I said, just to recap, Belmont and Tishomingo County, Mississippi, thunderstorm wind damage at 6:15, trees on a house. Iuka, Mississippi, trees down and power outages. Saltillo, Mississippi, trees down, large tree down on a house. Okay, that's in northern Mississippi. Northwestern Alabama, Russellville, multiple trees down across Russellville, including one on a house. So you can see that these storms mean business. And one more damage report, Hamilton in Marion County, 6:18, trees and lines down in and around Hamilton. So these storms mean business, folks, and they are doing a lot of damage as they push on through your area. All right, so next up is going to be, well, I can actually show you. Back out. That's your leading edge of your extreme wind. The extreme wind line has come on through Hartselle. It's come on through Huntsville. It's getting really close right now to Double Springs and Arley. Then curving over here towards West Point and Calhoun City, Mississippi. If you are along that line of storms, going ahead and think about going to a sturdy shelter inside your home, because these winds have been knocking over a lot of trees and doing a lot of damage across northern Alabama. Let me flip over here to the Birmingham radar. Columbus shows it better. So let me say this. If you're watching me in Amory, Mississippi, if you're watching me Pontotoc, Tupelo, Hamilton, Haleyville, Hartselle, Huntsville, Decatur, Athens, Russellville, Florence, Tuscumbia, Oxford, New Albany, Corinth, Mississippi, your severe weather threat is over. Your severe weather threat is over, period. But West Point, Starkville, Columbus, Fayette, Berry, Jasper, Coleman, Gunnersville, Scottsboro, you're still under the gun for severe weather. Possibly even reaching Tuscaloosa and Birmingham if they hold together. But we will have to wait and see. But once again, if you're watching me right now in Carbon Hill, if you are watching me over to Vernon, if you are watching me over towards Fayette, Belk, Kennedy, Millport, Berry, Oakman, Parrish, Cordova, Jasper, those are your next call to action. And the next places that are going to be brushed by this intense line of storms. Okay, Huntsville has issued another severe thunderstorm warning for two areas, two counties in Tennessee. So we won't go over that. But hopefully these storms will be dying down soon, but I can't guarantee it because these storms have continued to move on towards the south and towards the east and have carved a lot of damage, tree and power line damage onto homes across a good portion of northern Mississippi and northern Alabama. And let me check and see. Power is out in the town of Sheffield in the Tennessee Valley. Nine minutes ago, these storms were closing in on Huntsville, wind gusting to 40 to 50 miles per hour. So, once again, I'm Stephen Ray, and you are watching severe weather coverage of a line of severe storms that are weakening, but they are still producing a bunch of damage across northern Alabama and northern Mississippi. Okay, so we have a new update from the National Weather Service in Memphis for northern Mississippi. All right, if you were in Etowamba, Lee, or Pontotoc, Mississippi, your severe weather threat is over because the severe weather threat has moved out of your county. Etowamba, Lee, and Pontotoc, Mississippi, your severe weather threat is over. The National Weather Service in Memphis has canceled the warning. However, they continue the warning until 7:15 for Calhoun, Chickasaw, and Monroe. So once again, Calhoun, Chickasaw, and Monroe until 7:15. They've canceled the warning for Pontotoc, Lee, and Etowamba. And once again, if you were watching me in Clay, Lowndes, Oktibbeha, and Webster County, Mississippi, further to the south, you're under a severe thunderstorm warning for 60-mile-per-hour winds until 7:30. So there is your line of wind that has produced a lot of damage across northern Alabama and northern Mississippi. And your wind line is approaching West Point right now. It is on the northern side of the city of Fayette. It has come on through Carbon Hill. It is stretching. It is getting really close to our friends over here in Coleman County. If you're watching me in Hartselle, Falkville, Addison, Double Springs, Haleyville, Phil Campbell, Bear Creek, your severe weather threat is over. If you're watching me in Coleman, New Hope, Hanceville, Holly Pond, Gunnersville, Arab, you still have a threat of severe weather in the next 15 minutes. All right, new update from the National Weather Service in Birmingham. They said this. Barely any thunder now with these thunderstorms, but they are still producing wind gusts that could cause trees to come down. Warnings are still in effect, and that means equals continue to take this seriously. It still may be sunny where you are now, but conditions can change in a hurry. All right. So, very little lightning within these storms, but they are still producing damaging winds in excess of 58 miles per hour, which can do damage. All right. So, if you're watching me right now, the line of wind is coming across Highway 22, Interstate 22 right now, basically in between Carbon Hill and Jasper. They've come on through Vernon. Next up would be Fayette, Belk, Kennedy, Millport, Berry, Oakman, Jasper, Cordova, Sipsey, and Dora. Then, if you're watching me up here towards Smith Lake, Good Hope, and Coleman, especially if you were on 65 on the northern edge of Coleman, northern edge of downtown Coleman, this is where this line of storms is about to get on top of you right now. Okay, let me say this. If you're watching in Lawrence or Limestone counties in North Alabama, your severe weather threat has ended because the severe weather has passed south of your location. So if you're in Lawrence or Limestone counties, the severe thunderstorm warning has been canceled. However, it continues for 14 more minutes. Coleman, Jackson, Madison, Marshall, and Morgan. So once again, Coleman, Jackson, Madison, Marshall, and Morgan until 7:15. If you were in Lawrence or Limestone, your severe weather threat is over. Okay, if you're watching me still in northeastern Mississippi, if you are watching me near Tupelo in the Palmetto community, multiple trees down and trees across Road 158 and 261. Shingles also blown off of a house. And those storms that affected Tupelo are currently coming through the city of West Point, Mississippi, and coming in between the Columbus area and just north of Caledonia, Mississippi. So if you are watching me right now along 45 that runs from Tupelo and Aberdeen, Mississippi, all the way down to Columbus, and especially if you were up here, I can zoom in a little bit closer, close to Oakdale Park, Ridgeland, Holly Hills, and Green Acres in Columbus. This line of wind is about to come over you right now. If you're watching me at the Mossy Oak outlet or near that area in West Point, it's going to be coming over you right now. If you are watching me in Fernbank, Millport, Kennedy, Kingsville, Belk, Fayette, Jerusalem, Gumbud, Newtonville, Concord, Bankston, Cleveland, Berry, Pea Ridge, Boley Springs, Oakman, Parrish, Pleasant Grove, Jasper. Those are the people that are up next for the severe wind that is coming into northwestern Alabama and getting over here into central Mississippi now. Also, if you're watching me towards Coleman, Arab, New Hope, Gant, Gunnersville, Scottsboro, Gurley, Stevenson, Bridgeport. It's coming through you right now. It is coming through the city of Coleman right now. And let me see. Come on. Okay. Hmm. All right, so what we're going to do is I am going to we're going to watch this intense line of wind come through the metro of Columbus right now. And this is a live look at Columbus. And what you're looking at would be the Kroger off to your left along 45, getting over here towards the Walmart, and up north just a little bit of where the .com is would be the Belk, the Michaels, and the Dick's Sporting Goods. And from this location, the line of wind, severe wind at that, because there is a severe thunderstorm warning, is probably 5 miles from that location. So we are going to watch this together. Come on through the Columbus area right now. So we're going to watch it come on through. But while we're looking at that, if you're watching me in Belk, Kennedy, Millport, Berry, Fayette, if you're watching me right now in Jasper, Oakman, Parish, Cordova, Arley, Good Hope, Holly Pond, Baileyton, Arab, Union Gap, New Hope, Woodville, Pleasant Grove, Skyline, or High Top. Those are the next areas in line in Alabama for this intense wind that is coming through your area. If you're in Mississippi, from Maben to Starkville, over to Artesa and Columbus, you guys are up next for the severe wind line that is coming through the Columbus Air Force Base as we speak right now. So the wind line in Mississippi is sitting in between Columbus Air Force Base and Columbus along 45, tracking south. So this is where this line of wind is going to be. Now, it may not be as strong at this location, because, but you never know. So once again, you're watching severe weather coverage, and we are looking at US 45 and 18th Avenue in Columbus, Mississippi. Over to your left there would be the Kroger and the Walmart. And we are waiting to see the line of wind that is coming through in between Columbus and Columbus Air Force Base right now. And this is live. Okay, there comes your heavy wind. I see the. Okay, yeah. Yeah, it's coming into Columbus right now. Let me go back to the other look. The wind's really picking up in Columbus right now, as you can see right there, that bush. And so winds are probably gusting anywhere from 40 to 50 right now. And like I said, these storms are in a weakening phase right now. So it may not be as bad in some locales, but there is still the possibility of winds upwards of 60 miles per hour within locations within this line. So that is why the Weather Service has placed a good portion of a large portion of the Columbus, Mississippi area underneath a severe thunderstorm warning. And this is actually in downtown near Main Street, and the line of storms has not even reached that locale yet. Okay, so the updated warning from the National Weather Service in Jackson continues the warning until 7:30 for Lowndes and Oktibbeha Hall counties for 60-mile-per-hour winds. Okay, so if you're watching right now in Oktok, it'll be around you in 15 minutes. If you're watching in Crawford and Longview, 7:40, and Craig Springs, 7:45. Sturgis and Artesa also. Okay, there's the intense wind coming into downtown Columbus. It has reached this area now. All right, so let's go back over here to the radar. And there's your warnings. That includes Berry, Fayette, Jasper, Cordova, and Dora. Also includes Columbus, north of Starkville, and over here to almost to Eupora. Okay, so the severe thunderstorm warning has been expired for Calhoun, Chickasaw, and Monroe. So basically, if you were watching me along the Highway 82 corridor and points off to the north, your severe weather threat is over in Mississippi. So that is the good news. All right, so National Weather Service in Huntsville has issued a new severe thunderstorm warning for Coleman, DeKalb, Jackson, Madison, Marshall, and Morgan counties until 8:15, which goes for 1 hour. Okay, if you're watching me in Winston County, all of Winston County, your severe weather threat is over in Alabama. Fayette, Lamar, and Walker continue for about 10 more minutes until 7:30. And over in Mississippi, if you are in Clay or Webster counties, warning has been canceled. Lowndes and Oktibbeha, the warnings do continue. So, I know that that's confusing. All right, so let's go back over this one more time. If you were in Mississippi, Lowndes and Oktibbeha is still under the warning for 10 more minutes. And this does include Starkville. This does include Columbus. Okay. In central Alabama, Fayette, Lamar, and Walker counties until 7:30. And for North Alabama, Coleman, DeKalb, Madison, Marshall, Morgan until 8:15. Now, it is going to be seen whether or not the Weather Service will continue this warning into Tuscaloosa. It's going to be interesting because this line of wind is basically sitting now on the Fayette, Pickens, Tuscaloosa County line. So it's going to be real interesting to see what the Weather Service does with this line of wind right there. And of course, it stretches on down south of Columbus, coming over here towards Starkville, and then coming over here towards Calhoun City. So we will wait to see what the Weather Service will do about Tuscaloosa and Pickens. And that was a warning that Huntsville did for Franklin, Tennessee. Getting more reports of trees down near the city of Huntsville now. So Huntsville, we're now getting damage reports of trees down around Huntsville. Also tree damage in Madison, the city of Madison, which is outside of Huntsville as well. So we are awaiting now to see what the Weather Service is going to do about the warning for Pickens and Tuscaloosa. But next up, if you're watching me in Jasper, if you're watching me in Berry, if you're watching me over here towards Millport and Bowley Springs, you need to go on ahead and think about being in your sturdy shelter right now. Now, the line of wind it's pretty much gotten into Pickens County now because there is your line of wind from Artesa over to just south of Columbus, and then curving over here towards what would be Ellisville, Ethelsville, sorry, and then coming over here towards the northern Pickens County area. Okay, so Jackson has expired the severe thunderstorm warning for Oktibbeha and Lowndes. So that the warning in Mississippi is no longer active. So Jackson has expired the warnings for Lowndes and Oktibbeha. So we are through with severe weather in Mississippi. Apparently. So now we are waiting to see what what the National Weather Service in Birmingham is going to do. So guys, we are through with severe weather. If you are over in Mississippi. So what I'm going to do is, if you're watching me in Mississippi, I'm going to sign off. These storms, let me back out over here on the radar. And show you that there is no more warnings in any part of Mississippi. Basically, if you're watching from Eupora to Starkville over to Columbus, your severe weather threat is over because the warning has been allowed to expire. So if you're in Mississippi and watching me in Mississippi right now, I am about to sign off. If you're watching me in Alabama, I'm going to stay here just for a little bit longer to give you guys the latest weather information and see what they're going to do about Tuscaloosa and Pickens County. So for my friends in Mississippi, I'm signing off. Hope you guys have a great rest of your evening, and as always, God bless. Alright, guys, so the people watching me still here in Alabama, basically from Berry over to Cordova and Dora, you guys still have a threat of seeing damaging straight line winds. Berry, Cordova, and Dora, Parish, Oakman, your threat is coming up here very soon. Your call to action is here in a few minutes. Now, this severe thunderstorm warning expires in 6 minutes, and that will be at 7:30. Now, the National Weather Service in Birmingham has actually decided to go with a significant weather alert for Pickens and Tuscaloosa counties until 8:15. So once again, significant weather advisory for Walker, Tuscaloosa, Pickens, Blount, Jefferson, Fayette, and Lamar counties until 8:15. So, the only active warnings that we have in place right now for Alabama is Coleman, Jackson, Madison, Marshall, and Morgan counties in North Alabama. Fayette, Lamar, and Walker for 5 more minutes in Central Alabama. So in about 5 minutes, We will be down to one severe thunderstorm warning, and that will be for the northern portions of the area. And Huntsville has allowed the warning for Franklin County, Tennessee to expire. So they've only got one warning still going for the northern areas, and that is for Coleman, DeKalb, Jackson, Madison, Marshall, and Morgan. And that is for 8:15. And that is for damaging winds in excess of 60 miles per hour. And we're still getting a bunch of damage reports. We're getting reports. Oh, that's okay. All right, if you're watching me in Athens, Alabama, near Limestone County, trees and power lines down on Congress Road. Also, if you're watching me near Hazel Green in Madison County, trees down on a garage. So these storms still up north in Alabama are producing a lot of damage right now. So once again, if you're watching me over here, closer to the Dora, Cordova, and Oakman area, that warning goes for another 6 minutes. I'm actually going to switch gears and focus more on North Alabama because the southern end of the line looks like it is weakening right now. So basically, right now, if you are watching me from Gunnersville up to Scottsboro and over to Stevenson and Bridgeport, this is going to be your call to action right now. If you are watching me on 72, basically from Scottsboro to Hollywood to Stevenson to Bridgeport, coming up here towards the Chattanooga area and South Pittsburgh in Tennessee. That is where your line of severe winds of 60 miles per hour is going to be coming through. 72 also curves over here to Woodville. But if you're watching me in Pleasant Groves, if you're watching me in High Top, if you're watching me in Woodville, New Hope, Grant, Arab, your severe weather threat is over. Next up, your call to action is going to be Lake Gunnersville, Scottsboro, Hollywood, then getting up here towards Stevenson and Bridgeport. Then next will be Albertville, Rainsville, Fife, Crossville, Slovenia, Ider, and then far northwestern portions of the area. So once again, this is Stephen Ray, and you are watching severe weather coverage here on the social media accounts because we actually have a line of severe storms that is progressing across a good portion of north and central Alabama. Now, if you are watching me in Berry or Jasper, the warning has officially expired for your area. So we are down to one. We are down to one severe thunderstorm warning as that warning just went away that included Berry and Jasper. So the one warning that we have in effect right now is for Jackson, Marshall, Madison, DeKalb, Coleman, and Morgan counties in northern Alabama until 8:15. All right, and this warning goes for 45 more minutes. Now, if you are in Jackson, Marshall, Madison, DeKalb, Coleman, or Morgan counties. These are the areas that are going to be affected by these severe storms. Southern Huntsville, Albertville, Coleman, Scottsboro, Fort Payne, Boaz, Gunnersville, Arab, Rainsville, and Bridgeport. So these are not even thunderstorms anymore. This is a line of showers that are producing winds upwards of 60 miles per hour. And you can see that that does not look as impressive on radar. But I can guarantee you these storms are still producing winds upwards of 50 to 60, and especially if you are along a line that basically parallels Bridgeport down to Stevenson, Hollywood, and Scottsboro, Alabama. Also getting in here to Lake Gunnersville right now, and then Gunnersville, the town. So if you're watching me right now in Martintown, if you were watching me up here close to Mentone, Fort Payne, Rainsville, Powell, Dutton, Alabama, Central, Ider, Flat Rock, Sulphur Springs, Stevenson, Bridgeport, Bryant, Shiloh, Aliza, Gans Crossroads, Towson Crossroads, Valley Head, Sylvania, Blake, Rainsville, Shiloh, Pine Ridge, Fort Payne, Mentone. Gilbert's Crossroads, Grove Oak, Five Forks, Albertville. You guys are up next for the intense line of wind. No, it will not reach Texas. I'm reading over all of your comments, and thank you guys. Crane Hill getting high winds. Thank you all for those reports. And yes, these storms came out of nowhere. Earlier, these storms actually did produce a brief tornado in the Boot Heel of Missouri. So, unfortunately, these storms have been progressing all across Missouri, Arkansas, northern Tennessee, northern Mississippi, and then, of course, northern Alabama. So that is the situation that we have ongoing right now. We still have a line of severe storms for a good portion of northeast Alabama. And let me just go ahead and say this. If you're watching me in Gadsden, if you're watching me in Anniston, if you're watching me in Oxford, these are well north of your area. If you're watching me in Sardis City, over towards Cedars Bluff and Century, Weiss Lake. This is going to be north of you. However, if you're watching me more towards Fort Payne, Mentone, Rainsville, Valley Head, Lake Gunnersville, up to Scottsboro, Bridgeport, Ider, Sulphur Springs, Stevenson, and places around those areas. These are going to be an extremely nasty line of storms that are moving towards your area right now. And there's your new update. All right, so these storms, line of wind. Let me see what that is. Okay, so National Weather Service in Huntsville has canceled Coleman, Madison, and Morgan counties. So if you're watching me back off to the west, if you're watching me in Coleman, Madison, or Morgan counties, your severe weather threat is over. You can go back to doing whatever you would like to do. However, this warning continues till 8:15 for DeKalb, Jackson, and Marshall counties this evening. But I can almost guarantee you that this line of storms is going to be well over into Georgia by 8:15 because they are boogieing it right now. They are booking it. So once again, one more time, if you were watching me right now, in Coleman, Madison, or Morgan counties, severe weather threat is over. Severe weather threat continues to DeKalb, Jackson, and Marshall counties till 8:15. Now, let me take you back over here. All right, so here is the updated warning. All right, and this is 60 mile per hour wind gusts from emergency managers and Doppler radar. And these are the areas that are going to be impacted over the next 38 minutes. Albertville, Scottsboro, Fort Payne, Boaz, Gunnersville, Rainsville, Bridgeport, Henniger, Stevenson, and Crossville. All right. So those are your areas. So smaller areas that are going to be impacted are Sulphur Springs, Flat Rock, Eider, Gann Crossroads, Shiloh, Aliza, Townsend Crossroads, Henniger, Central, Pisgah, Alabama, Dutton, Sylvania, Powell, Rainsville, Blake, Fort Payne, Mentone, Little River Canyon National Preserve. So once again, this is Stephen Ray, and you're watching severe weather coverage of a severe thunderstorm complex that has pushed across a good portion of northern Alabama and has produced some pretty significant tree and power line damage across the area. And now it is moving into the far northeastern portions of Alabama. And this is the only warning that we have left coming up here between Bridgeport, Stevenson, Scottsboro, then stretching down to Gunnersville, Albertville, Boaz, then Rainsville, Fort Payne, in Henniger, in northeast Alabama. And that's pretty much it. Because the warnings back over here in Mississippi and West Alabama have been allowed to expire, which is a good thing. But let me see. Back out. We're getting a lot of reports of tree damage across a good portion of northern Alabama. And give me just a second, folks. I am trying to pour through all of the information. And of course, Birmingham is the reason that you're hearing that ding 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 is because Birmingham is continuing the flash flood warnings for a good portion of the waterways across a good portion of Alabama. And this includes a flood warning for the Cahaba River near Suttle, Alabama, and then the Tallapoosa River and the Coosa River. So that is the reason that you keep hearing the ding ding dings is because of Birmingham issuing the or continuing the flood warnings for those rivers. But I am trying to see. Okay, so we still have thunderstorm wind damage now that's coming in from Scottsboro, Alabama. And that was at 7:23, right when these storms came through. So these storms are still packing quite the punch, and especially if you were up here towards the Rainsville and Fort Payne, Alabama areas, also near Eider. You need to go ahead and think about going to a sturdy shelter. Hmm. Trying to see if there are any cameras that we can get or access that are in Fort Payne so that we can actually see what's going on as these storms come on through. Okay, so apparently we don't have any options for web cameras up in Fort Payne. All right. All right, getting a lot of reports of damage even back up into Tennessee, in Franklin County, Tennessee, with these storms. And those are about to push into the Chattanooga area. But once again, if you are watching me in northeastern Alabama, basically from Ider down to Henniger, down to Sylvania, down to Rainsville, and then Fifey, I hope that's right, and then down to Crossville. You guys are next up in line for damaging straight line winds. And yes, we have another damage report of trees and power lines down near Highway 35 near the top of Sand Mountain. And this is in in Jackson County, 1 mile northwest of Section, Alabama. So these storms are still being violent. If you're watching me right now towards Sulphur Springs or Flat Rock, Alabama, these storms are coming over you right now. Henniger, Slovenia, Rainsville, Shiloh, Lakeview, Geraldine, Crossville, Double Bridge. You guys are under the gun now. Then next up is going to be Fort Payne, Valley Head, Collinsville, getting up here towards Otter, and then Gans Crossroads, Shiloh, and Eliza. All right, and then eventually getting over here towards the Little River Canyon National Preserve. And then eventually getting over here into Georgia, and then we can sign off here on Facebook. But while there is still a warning and damage being done, I'm still going to stay here as long as we get this line of storms into Georgia. So, like I said, if you're watching me in Rainsville, if you're watching me in Crossville, if you're watching me in Boaz, Ider, Valley Head, Fort Payne, Little River Canyon, you're next up in line for damaging straight line winds. And I can actually zoom in here and show you that there are two damage icons from this line of storms. You've got one up here near Scottsboro. You've also got this wind damage icon north of Section. And so both of these were in the last 20 minutes. So damage reports are still filtering in with this line of severe storms that is about to come through Townsend Crossroads, Ider, Alabama. Then getting over here to Blake, Pleasant Hill, Pine Ridge, and then getting over here towards Guest, Gilbert's Crossroads, Crossville, and then Fort Payne. Then, of course, getting over here towards the Eliza and Shiloh areas in northern Alabama. So right now, nobody should be driving along 117 between Ider and coming down here towards Townsend Crossroads over to Oak Grove. So once again, this is Stephen Ray, and we are watching a complex of severe showers because these have literally no lightning in them right now, coming through the northeastern portions of Alabama and they are producing damaging winds in excess of 60 miles per hour, doing extensive tree damage right now. And it's basically from Eider down to Henniger, Sylvania, Rainsville, Fife, and then Crossville. And then next up would be Valley Head, Fort Payne, and then getting down here towards the Little River Canyon National Preserve. And then this thing is over into Georgia, and we can quit worrying about severe weather for the rest of the evening. But for right now, these storms are packing a punch. And the good news is I've not heard anything else come in about 5 minutes from Huntsville. So that is the good news. So the severe thunderstorm warning will remain in effect for DeKalb and Jackson counties until 8:15. So we've got a few more minutes of severe thunderstorm warnings, and then we can push them on into Georgia, and that will be that. So, like I said, we have a bunch of severe weather warnings that are coming in here towards the Eider, Alabama area, getting down here to Valley Head and Fort Payne. Basically, these storms are about to parallel I-59 that runs from Birmingham down from Chattanooga down to Birmingham. So let me zoom in here closer. If you are watching me over here along 72 from Scottsboro to Hollywood to Stevenson to Bridgeport, your severe weather threat is over. If you're watching me over here in Gunnersville, Lake Gunnersville, your severe weather threat is over. If you're watching me in Albertville, your severe weather threat is over. However, Eider to Valley Head to Fort Payne to Crossville, then over here to the Little River Canyon National Forest. And then Lickskillet, Alabama. Then you're up next. And let me just go on ahead and zoom in and show you this. Lickskillet, Alabama, folks. Lickskillet, Alabama. Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? Also, Dogtown and Loveless. Gotta love Alabama Town, folks. Gotta love Alabama Towns. Let's see. Okay, multiple trees down around Grant. And this is from Marshall County. So, that will be popping up on the screen soon. So once again, if you're watching me in Fort Payne, if you're watching me in Valley Head right now, these are very serious winds that are coming in here to Pine Ridge, Minnieville, and then eventually Lickskillet and the Little River Canyon National Preserve, and then we can push them on over into Georgia after that. Okay, so let me make this very clear. All right, so if we've got anybody else watching me right now in Jackson or Marshall counties in Alabama, Jackson and Marshall counties in Alabama, your severe weather threat is over. Jackson and Marshall counties warning has been canceled. DeKalb is the only county that is left in the warning until 8:15. So once again, there is one county left in the warning until 8:15, and it is for DeKalb. If you were in Jackson or Marshall counties, your severe weather threat is officially over. So, the updated warning for 18 more minutes for 60-mile-per-hour wind gusts till 8:15 for DeKalb County. And if you are in any of the following locations, you're about to get severe weather: Fort Payne, Rainsville, Henniger, Crossville, Slovenia, Fife, Eider, Valley Head, Hammondville, and Mentone. Expect damage to roof, sidings, and trees until 8:15. So, once again, Hammondville, Valley Head, Mentone, Fort Payne, Pine Ridge, Lick Skillet, Little River Canyon National Preserve, Hendricksville, and Collinsville for another 18 minutes for the possibility of damaging winds in excess of 60 miles per hour. But I can almost guarantee you that this line of wind is going to be over into Georgia. It's going to be over into Georgia by 18 minutes. There's no doubt. This line of storms is boogieing it. Getting more damage coming in now from High Top in Skyline back in Jackson County. So apparently there are a lot of damage across a good portion of North Alabama with this severe weather. And we've only got a small portion of northeast Alabama underneath a severe thunderstorm warning. Oh, and I also need to mention that out of all of the United States of America, this is the only warning that's left. Getting reports of thunderstorm wind damage back in Mississippi now, and this is from central Mississippi, from Lowndes County, Mississippi. So once again, I want to thank the people that are watching right now. Hopefully your area has been spared and that there's no damage where you live right now. But once again, I do want to thank the people that are watching me here. I know that this is kind of getting redundant and boring, but once again, the line of severe wind is paralleling I-59. It has come right on across I-59 now, and it is just now coming through Valley Head to just east of Fort Payne, and then curving down here towards the Crossville, Alabama area. Getting severe weather reports of thunderstorm wind damage in Columbus, Mississippi. So that's a little bit further west than where we are right now. But next up is going to be Little River Canyon, Lick Skillet, and Adamsburg, Pumpkin Center, and Fisher Crossroads. And then eventually getting over here to Jamestown, Burgess, and 5 Points. Okay, so we are waiting to see what the Weather Service in Huntsville is going to do, if they're going to allow this warning to expire or if they are going to extend it. Getting more damage coming in from Jackson County, Alabama, Stevenson. And that was as of 7:36, so about 30 minutes ago. Near the steam plant in Stevenson. So we are waiting to see what Huntsville is going to do, if they are going to go a significant weather alert for the county south of DeKalb, or if they're going to extend that warning. And they may go on ahead, they may extend this warning. Huntsville may extend this warning to include Center and Cedar Bluff, Alabama. But they haven't said anything yet, so maybe not, but we will have to see. This warning goes for another 11 minutes, and if you're watching me right now in Pumpkin Center, Adamsburg, or Little River Canyon, the severe weather and the severe winds are coming over you right now. And then getting down here towards a city called Lick Skillet, Alabama. Yes, Lick Skillet, Alabama. And then coming over here towards the Dogtown, Alabama area as well. There's Dogtown. Sigsbee, and then Lick Skillet. Yeah, there's all kind of damage coming in now from Jackson County, Alabama, so I would not be surprised to see them extend this warning. So if you're watching me at Little River Canyon, I need to go on ahead and prepare now for damaging straight line winds in about 2 minutes coming over your location. Because this line of wind is coming over Walker Avenue right now. Or, I'm sorry, Wallace Avenue right now. Wallace Avenue, also 395. And there's your severe wind that is coming over Little River Canyon and Lake Skillet right now. And then getting over here to Lake Howard and DeSoto State Park. And then crossing over here into Georgia. So it looks like in 9 minutes they're going to allow this warning to expire. But that in 9 minutes, that line of wind will be over here towards the New Moon, Alabama area. So, in the past hour, we have gone from 5 warnings down to 1 from this line of decaying line of showers that is coming through the northeastern portion of the state of Alabama. Earlier, we had warnings that stretched from the Huntsville Metro all the way over to near the Eupora, Mississippi area. And we had warnings lined up all along it. Now we just have this one warning in far northeast Alabama. We actually have. Alright, so Huntsville has officially expired the severe thunderstorm warning for DeKalb. So we actually have no more severe weather warnings to deal with right now. We still have a line of showers, but everything is now below severe limits. So, for the people that are still watching, there goes your warning. All right, so it's gone. So there are no more warnings in the state of Alabama. There's no more warnings, and let me zoom out and show you. There are no warnings anywhere in the 48 states. There are no warnings across the entire area of North America. So we are completely without any more warnings. But let me show you this. All right. There is still a batch of rain that stretches from Chattanooga all the way down to the northern Birmingham Metro and northern Tuscaloosa counties. And Tuscaloosa very well may get rain over the next 30 to 45 minutes. And there could be a brief wind gust in here of 30 to 40, but they will not be severe. You actually have a little bit of a wind line coming through the Gadsden area, coming over here to Leeds, north of Hoover, and that line just hit my house. I can actually hear the wind outside, and it is quite fierce. So there is your wind line, but it is below severe limits. So once again, if you are south of Birmingham, south of Hoover, watching me in Alabaster, Calera, Utah, Moundville, places like that, you're going to get a brief gust of wind in excess of 40 miles per hour with that line of wind. But that is going to be all that you're going to see, and then maybe a little bit of rain on the backside of it. But there is no more severe weather to deal with, so let me see. So once again, one final thing before we sign off here. The severe thunderstorm warning has been allowed to expire for DeKalb. So there are no more warnings in the state of Alabama. So I'm about to sign off. Hope you guys have a great rest of your evening. And always remember, let me throw this up here before we sign off. You can always follow us and get severe weather updates on our Zillow app. You can find us on Zillow at Alabama Stormtroopers on the Zillow app. You can also find us on Facebook, Twitter, and other social media platforms as well. We will be back here to provide any and all kind of severe weather in the event that we have severe weather, in the coming weeks, months, and years to come. Always follow us, like I said, one more time on the Zillow app for the latest weather information. There are no more severe weather warnings, so I'm about to sign off. Hope you guys have a great rest of your evening, and as always, from all of us here at the Stormtroopers Network, God bless.